Today we're going to take a quick look at the analytical capabilities that will be available in the next version of LeanKit Kanban. We hope that these tools will provide you with the information necessary to help you understand and improve the throughput of your system or processes. Before we take a look at the analytical tools, let's take a quick look at this fictitious value stream to understand what we'll be analyzing. As you can see, this value stream maps out the processes necessary to complete work items through a development process. Features, or MMFs, are queued or buffered within the work queue to the left. As capacity of the system becomes available, they are pulled into development where they are broken out into individual tasks. Those tasks are processed through completion. As testing capacity becomes available, these completed features are pulled into testing where they are broken out into test cases and processed into completion until the feature is fully developed and tested, at which point it will be moved into the deploy queue and eventually into the done column. As you can also see, we have a process for handling bugs, tasks, and improvements. These are buffered to the left, again in the work queue, but processed through a different process down here to the bottom. This gives you a very high-level understanding of the process that we'll be analyzing. Within the analytics package, the first diagram that we'll take a look at is the cumulative flow diagram. The cumulative flow diagram can be a valuable tool for understanding the flow of work items through your process, visualizing bottlenecks, and understanding the amount of inventory within your process and thus the effective lead time of that inventory. As you can see, with these multi-tier boards, we have a tremendous number of lanes to analyze. In order to reduce this noise, we provide a couple of mechanisms. The first mechanism is the ability to remove lanes from the data sets. Here we can click to remove lanes or click again to add lanes back. For this example, we'll remove the archive and backlog for now and refresh the data. Individual lanes can be removed, or the parent lane can be removed with a single click on the parent lane header. Clicking on them again re-adds the child lanes. Another mechanism that we provide is the ability to roll up child lanes into the parent lanes. Here we click on the icon to roll up all the lanes in the testing lane up to its parent. Let's do that too for the development and work queue. As you can see, it reduces the number of lanes that we have to analyze and gives us a more granular look. Let's add backlog and archive to get a more traditional look of a cumulative flow diagram. As you can see, this gives you a high level at the process flow and bottlenecks within the system. If we are interested in looking at a particular time, say for instance the trailing month here, we can use this slider on the dates to reduce the amount of time or the time span that we're viewing at a particular time. Here we refresh the data and we only see the time frames within that particular or the selected data set. We can also click within the actual graph and drag left or right to zoom in on a particular day or time period that we desire. Clicking the show all zooms back out. Another interesting feature is the ability to look at the cumulative flow or average queue size based on the card size specified within the particular card. If we check the box here and refresh the data, as you can see, the average queue size is calculated based on the size specified within the work item, not the number of cards within the queue. The next diagram that we will look at is the average cycle time for the process. As you can see, we're again presented with a representation of our board down here at the bottom. But instead of just having the columns or lanes the ability to add or remove lanes, we can actually select the start and finish lanes for the average cycle time calculation. As you can see, here we are calculating the time it takes for an item to move from work queue to the done column. If we're interested in, for instance, how long does it take for us to process features through the testing cycle, we can change the start lane by removing this as a start lane, then click the features and change the finish lane to the deploy queue. This will give us an understanding of how long it takes our MMFs over time to be processed through testing. We can do the same thing for development. This gives us an understanding of how long does it take once a feature is added to development to get through testing to the deploy queue. We'll demonstrate here how we select multiple lanes as the start lane. Here we'll select all the parent lanes for our in-process items and keep the finish lane as the lane. This gives us an understanding of our complete cycle time for all items starting anywhere within the board. As with the cumulative flow diagram, we do have this date slider here to hone in on a particular date period if we like. We can also calculate cycle time based on the card size specified within the work item. Here we'll select this, move our date period back out. This gives us an average cycle time per size point within our system. We can also take a look at cycle times broken out by priority. Here we get an understanding of the different cycle times based on the priority set on the work item. Here, as we can see, high-level work items, or work items specified as high, are averaging about 13 days cycle time, as well as low items are averaging about 12 days, down to critical, which are about 8 days. Another way to slice it is by card type. Here we may only want to look at features, cycle time for features. We can filter out all the other card types and get a good understanding of our cycle time just for our features or MMFs within the board. Again, this provides the same functionality for selecting the start and finish lanes, selecting the date period that we want to look at, and calculating based on the card size as opposed to the individual cards. Next, we'll look at the card distribution diagrams. This first diagram that we're looking at is card distributions by lane. As you can see, we've rolled up these lanes into their highest level parent lanes. If we'd like to get a little more granular, we can unroll these, refresh the data, and get a distribution just based on all the lanes included. Again, we can add and remove by clicking the columns and refreshing the data to remove the individual columns. And again, like the other diagrams, we can calculate it based on card size as opposed to just work item count. Here we see the current card distribution by lane based on card size, with certain columns rolled up and certain columns removed. We can also look at by priority. Here we see the distribution of normal, high, low, and critical priority items. By card type, or by assigned user. This concludes our quick run-through of the new analytical capabilities that will soon be available in LeanKit Kanban. Please take a look at these and try them out by signing up for our free account at LeanKitKanban.com.